got a woman, and based off of her name, it's a black woman. So I'm like, black woman, yeah, black woman, yeah, black woman, black woman, black woman, hey, black woman. Oh, yeah, got a black woman, black. Like, I'm real.
I even dream of you, I swear. Visions of you and I. See you all around my way. Been meaning to say hi, but
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Stacia, obviously. Like I said, if you're new here, welcome. If you are not new here, welcome back. See by the title, this is like my trainer horror story, child. Terrible, okay? Terrible. If you see me looking this way, sorry, I could see myself right here, so I'm like, look at me, look at me. But yes, y'all, training situation itself, the first trainer I had was Satan's little sister, like, or older sister, T. But yeah, everything is good now. I had a new trainer. Everything went absolutely amazing with my trainer. I am done. I'm off my trainer's truck. As you guys can see, I'm in the hotel. I tested out today, so I will be getting my truck next week. Yeah, we're so excited for that. I love that for me. It's been a long journey, y'all. I look like everything I've been through. I'm on here with no lashes. Like, I don't got, like, girl, you look a mess. You look a mess, okay? Besides all that, I'm gonna just jump right into the story. So, I don't even really know where to start. I mean, it's giving, like, start at the beginning. Long story short, I did orientation for a week, and then I waited about a week or so for my trainer because I requested a female trainer, and I really wish, like, woman empowerment, like, I really wish it would have worked out like that, but it didn't. I get a call from the lady at the office, and she tells me to come down to the terminal to sign my co-ed paperwork because I've been waiting for a trainer for so long at this point that if I'm interested in just going with the male, then we're good to go. At this point, I had waited so long, I didn't even really care, and I felt like they were kind of trying to rush me out. I was gonna try to wait until after my birthday, because it is on like the 15th or 16th at this point, and my birthday is the 18th, so I'm kind of like trying to push it back. But realistically, there's been so many sacrifices made to get here. At this point, if I miss my birthday, I don't care. I know it's the last birthday that I'm gonna have to work on, and the rest of the birthdays, we're gonna live it up. So, like, whatever. So she's telling me that she's got a guy out of either Arkansas or Arizona. I don't remember, some with A. So, but it wasn't like Alabama. So like Arkansas or Arizona or whatever. And he is a local driver. So they would put me in a hotel there, and I would just come back to the hotel every night, and I wouldn't have to stay on the truck with him. So I'm like, bet. I don't even care. Like, I didn't mind staying on the truck with a man. It wasn't a huge deal. Like, I'm not interested. I'm a lesbian. I don't care about, you know, like, I don't care about that. But it's even better that I can go to the hotel every night. Like, sign me up. So she's like, just come down to the terminal and you can sign your co-ed paperwork. So I'm like, okay, good. I'm on my way, girl. Give me an hour to get up, get ready, and I'll be down to the terminal. So as soon as I get off of the phone with her, I get a message through our, basically like the app that we use for the company, and it's that I've been assigned a trainer, but the name that is assigned on there is a woman. So, but this is happening literally like as soon as I hang up, I had that message already in there, which means I got it while I was on the phone with her. So it's kind of confusing. I'm like, what's going on? But I had just got off the phone with her, so I'm like, I don't even care. I'm gonna go down to the terminal. I'll talk to them there, and like, it is what it is. Down to the terminal, and I get there, and I'm like, hey girl, I got a message stating that my leader has already been assigned, but it's a woman, so like, do I need to sign the co-ed paperwork or not? Blah, blah. She looks all the information up in the system, and then she's like, oh, okay, you got that at the same time we were talking. They must have assigned you, because the person who does the actual assignments and the people that work in the office to get you an assignment aren't the same people. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, there's a group organizing the assignments, and then there's a main person assigning people. So yeah, she's like, oh, it was, you know, like they already got it figured out. But then, like, I'm not saying this is what actually happened, but this is how I interpreted it. So she looks at all the information and then she's like, do you want to sign the co-ed paperwork just in case? So just in case what? It's like just in case anything happens, just in case so we have it in the system. So I don't think anything of it. I'm like, okay, girl, whatever. Like, sure, I'll sign the co-ed paperwork. I don't care. But I'm like, I got a woman, and based off of her name, it's a black woman. So I'm like, black woman, yeah, black woman, yeah, black woman, black woman, black woman, black woman, hey, black woman, black woman. Oh yeah, got a black woman, black. Like I'm real geek. I'm happy. At this point, your girl is excited. Okay, I'm ecstatic. I'm happy. I sign all the paperwork. I go back to the hotel. I got assigned to her at like 11 something in the morning. I called her. Turns out they had the number wrong in the system. So cool. However, I know I got the assignment message the same time she did. We both got them at the same time. It's 11 something and she calls me at like 6:30 at night. I'm like, okay, like whatever. She was driving, no worries. I get on the phone with this lady, and within the first couple of minutes, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. And you know that little post that they said on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, all the social media, they're like, red flags be looking like Six Flags when you like somebody. Yeah, girl, that's not the case here. I don't know you. I ain't trying to date you. Like, so your red flags are giving very much so not amusement park. They're giving red flags. Flaming red. Hot Cheetos, girl. So they're giving red. Within the first 2 minutes, she's like, oh, I see you're gonna be on the truck for your birthday. I'm like, oh yeah, like no big deal. This will be my last birthday having to actually work. Like next, all the other years from here on out, we gonna live it up, live it up. So, no worries. And she's like, okay. Oh, 1996, which means I'm 26. I'm a humble 26, y'all. I think I'm wrong, but like whatever. She's like, oh, they keep giving me babies. I have told them about giving me babies. Why do they keep putting babies on my truck? And I'm like, girl, I'm grown. I don't say nothing because she's my trainer and I'm just trying to like feel her out. But a pet peeve of mine is when people call me a baby. I'm grown. Like, especially when work situations call me a baby, like, we're not friends. Like, we're not close. You don't, like, why would you call me a baby? That was one thing. And then two, they keep putting babies on your truck. So it sounds like you've had issues before. But I don't say nothing. I let her keep talking. And I'm like, yeah, I'm young. I'm not a baby, but I'm young. It's introducing herself. And she's like, I'm very stern. Keep in mind, we're still within the first 5 minutes of conversation. She's like, I'm very stern. And if I say anything to hurt your feelings, then we'll need to speak about it. You'll need to get out of your feelings and then we'll need to move on. I can understand like the training experience being frustrating, but what could you be saying to me that would hurt my feelings in trucking? Like, in my head, I'm like, what are you saying as a professional to people that would be hurting their feelings? And it sounds like this isn't a one-off instance. So, not a red flag. I'm like, okay. And then it was like, and get out of your feelings and move on. Like, girl, what are you talking about? Proceeds to tell me that I don't need to overpack, which is true, because there's not enough room. And then I'm like, oh, I'm 5'2", everything I have. Oh, there's dust line around here, dirty. I'm like, I'm 5'2", girl, everything I have will fit on my bed, like, we'll be okay. And she's like, good, because you get one cubby space and that's it. Don't touch anything else. So I'm like, okay, girl, like, whatever. She's like, there's a very small refrigerator up there. If it's a couple things in there, because don't touch my refrigerator. You can use the microwave, but make sure you're not like overly using it. So in my head, I'm like, this doesn't sound like a trainer friendly truck. Like, it doesn't sound like you actually want people in your space. But I don't say anything. I'm just listening to her. She proceeds to tell me that every night we are going to wipe down the truck, which is okay, kind of like, I have no problem with cleanliness. Love it. However, she said we, and I'm like, we, I don't speak French. We what? Like, we. I will wipe down my area, but I'm not Molly the maid. I'm not about to wipe down your whole truck. I'm sorry. I'm just not. Like, I'm only going to the top bunk. I'm only going to be driving. Like, I will clean up my stuff because as a grown woman, you need to clean up your stuff. But I'm not like mopping your truck and doing all of that. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do it. Like, I'm just not. But I don't say nothing. I'm just like, okay, girl, like, whatever. She was just giving a lot of rules. So she was like, no shoes past the front, which is very much so understandable. That's gonna be the same thing in my truck. Everybody knows truck stops are nasty. I'm personally not going to be walking with my outside shoes back in the back, where I'm gonna be, you know, without shoes on or with my house shoes, or, you know, like, I won't be doing that. So I completely understand that. I'm trying to lighten the mood at this point because, to be completely honest, I'm on the phone kind of like, this ain't gonna work. But I'm like, okay, let me try to turn it. So I'm like, oh yeah, at this time I had braids in my hair. So I'm like, oh yeah, like, I have braids in my hair. That way I'm not doing my hair in your truck and there's not hair everywhere. Now, because I don't know about y'all, but I wouldn't want somebody coming into my space and having hair everywhere, or like trying to do their hair, or just really anything. Because the point of training is to learn how to drive the truck. Period. Like, it's not to be trying to make money. It's not to be trying to be like, I mean, I hate when people like try to be cute, because when you're cute, you're cute. Like, and I will be very much so cute in my truck. I don't care. That's who I am as a person. And I'm not going to change who I am as a person just because I started driving trucks. That's just not how that goes. Cute is cute. I will always be a bad bitch. Been a bad bitch, still a bad bitch. Will die a bad bitch. Okay? Like, truck or not. So on my truck, I'll be laying my wigs and slaying my head. But on somebody else's truck, you kind of have to like take those things into consideration. It's very much so rude to be doing your hair on the truck. Like, I wanted to get on the truck and focus on strictly learning how to drive the truck and getting through training. That's it, period. So she was like, oh yeah, that's great. That's really considerate of you, but it doesn't matter because you were going to clean it up anyways. And I'm just like, unnecessary, girl. Like, anywho, she's like, I'm working on my attitude, but I'm a work in progress. So those are things we'll have to just deal with. And I'm just like, ew, like, ew. Like a 26-minute conversation of basically just stuff like that. So when I get off the phone, I'm real uneasy. I don't feel good about it. And when I don't feel good about something, like, my intuition honestly has never been wrong. Now, there's been some times where I don't feel good about something and I do it anyways, and it turns out to not work. Like, and I'm like, girl, when are you gonna learn? When are you gonna learn? So anyways, I didn't feel good about it, so I called my mom. I don't hardly ever second guess myself. For the most part, I be looking in the mirror, like, looking at myself like, there it is, there, like Drake lines. Okay, I don't normally second guess myself at all. However, when I do need a second opinion, I'm calling my mama. So, I got my mama on the phone. I said, mama, here's the situation. Here's what happened. Da-da-da-da-da. My mama said, don't go. I said, what? She said, don't go. Y'all listen. My mama confirms it. Oh, baby, you're done. You're done. So, like, period. My mama said I can't go. My mama said no. My mama said. So when she said that, I said, girl, okay, period. So, then I called Jazz, tell her the situation. And she's like, ooh, that sucks. Mickey had a problem with her trainer too. So if you don't know, in trucking school, you have certain classes. Like, I'm class 52. She was class 48. Her and Mickey were class 48. So normally, like, your class becomes like a family, or y'all at least become friends, and there's like separate group chats and stuff like that. So like my class, every class I know personally had a group chat. So Jazz goes to the group chat and she's reading off some of the things that Mickey said was happening with her trainer. Like, she said that they left out of Atlanta, got to Texas, and her trainer tried to leave her in Texas. She said that she was arguing with her, that she was really rude to her, that her truck was nasty, that from January to, because this is March at this point, From January to the beginning of March, she's had five, because Mickey was her fifth one. She's had five like trainees on her truck. Now keep in mind, you're supposed to be on the truck for 21 days. So you mean to tell me from January to March, which is the third month in the year, the beginning of March, so really given 2 in February is a short month, that you've had 5 people on your truck? The math is not mathing. It's giving you're the problem. So I'm like, dang, she had a sucky trainer. Ask her who her trainer was. Because at this point, the things that she's reading off, I don't remember everything, but at the moment, the things that she was reading off to me were giving very much so sounds familiar. So we're waiting for her to reply back. And it's like, it's giving a treadmill minute. You know, minute goes by fast. I could talk for a minute. But if you're on the treadmill, that minute is so long. That minute be 20 minutes, y'all. So it was given about an hour in treadmill minutes. It really wasn't that long. It was probably like 10 minutes. But an hour in treadmill minutes, child. And she texts back the name. And Jazz is like, her name's Antoinette Marsh. Bitch, that's my trainer. I said, oh no, that's the last clue I needed. So that now we have the lady at the front being like, are you sure you don't want to sign the paperwork? We have the 26-minute conversation I had with her. That was terrible. We have confirmed that she has somebody I know. Like, now me and Mickey aren't close. Keep in mind, like, I've seen her maybe twice. By the time I got to school, she was leaving, really. We don't like know each other, but we know of each other. So she has no reason to try to people please with me. And she doesn't know that I'm asking about it. Also, Jasmine doesn't know the trainer's name. She just was like, here's the trainer's name. And I'm like, girl, that's my trainer. So that, my mama said not to go. And then my little intuition was like, nah. So at this point, I'm like, I'm not going. I'm going to go ahead and call the lady back up at the front. It's like by the time all this is done and happening, it's like 8:30. So no one is at the office anymore. So I'm like, okay, first thing in the morning, girl, call them back and just be like, hey, I was wondering if I can go with the man and, you know, do the hotel every night, because now it's not like a real sweet deal. It was already a sweet deal, but now it's giving toothache sweet, okay? I normally get there around 8:30, 9 o'clock. I was going to go be up there at 8:28, okay? I was going to be up there. About 7:30, a man calls me. And I guess he's like the introduction leader, basically stating, hey, your trainer has been assigned. You know, just want to let you know that they'll be here. I explained the situation to him. And keep in mind, you can't be like, oh, I don't like this person, I don't want to go. Like, it doesn't work like that. So he gets on the phone and I'm like, hey, you know, based off of the conversation that we had and the things that were provided, personally feel as if our personalities are going to clash, and I'm not going to be able to learn the things that I need to learn in order to keep myself and everybody else on the road safe. I was wondering if I can take the option that was previously provided for me, just to make sure that my learning is up to par and I learn everything that I need to learn. Long story short, basically. And he was like, yeah, no, I don't know who is based out of anywhere. I don't have anybody that's local. I don't have any hotel that you're talking about. And if you're refusing to get on the truck with them, then I can go ahead and put you on a leave and you can find somebody who is available. You can give us their name and you can let us know when you're ready. So I'm like I'm not refusing. I'm just sorry. I'm just trying to let you know that, like, I don't think our personality is going to mesh, but cool. Like, it's fine. I'll go. Don't worry about it. So I call my mama back like, girl. And then that kind of, I didn't like push back on that because, one, I'm a new driver, and two, if this is going to be like a stressful experience for me, I want to make sure I save all of my patience for the truck. So I'm not about to go back and forth with this man. It is what it is. You got it, sir. Yeah, he's like, she'll be there Wednesday. Turns out she didn't even get there until Thursday. And she texted me Wednesday night that she has made it to Atlanta and she'll be coming to pick me up in the morning. So I'm like, okay, cool. So she texted me at 10:14 at night. I text her back at 10:16 and said, perfect, glad you made it safe, because I'm going to try to make the best of the situation. Like, I can't do anything about it now. If it doesn't work out, then yes, I can get off her truck. Yes, I can get off her truck at this point. But I have to at least go and try. And if I'm going to go, then I should try to make the best of the experience, period. So I'm like, glad you made it safely. What time would you like me to be ready? Keep in mind, this is 2 minutes after she texts me. She does not text me back. So my job waiting, because I'm getting guaranteed pay while I wait. But the reason why they give you the guaranteed pay is so that you will be ready. So I don't know if she's an early riser. I'm like, what if this bitch just wants to be ready at 7 o'clock in the morning? So I get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning because I'm like, oh my God, I want to be ready. Like, I don't want her to be waiting on me and have a bad first impression. Like, that sucks. Girl calls me at 11 something. I am pissed. And I mean really fucking livid. Because why wouldn't you text? I know you did not just get up at 11. I know you didn't. At some point in time between 10:16 p.m. and 11:30 basically a.m. that you have looked at your phone sometime in that time frame. It's just really inconsiderate that you didn't text me and tell me. Anywho, fast forward. I meet her. I get to the truck. Don't get me wrong. I'll give credit where credit is due. She's really nice when I get on there. She tries to be anyways. So I get on the truck. The truck is disgusting. Like, disgusting. When I get up there, I'm putting my bags on the top bunk. There's stuff, it's cluttered for one, and it's disgusting, and it's got like an odd smell to it. But I'm like, it's just 21 days, girl, get through it, don't matter. So I'm climbing up to the top bunk. There's bags of trash on my bed. And she's like, oh, just hand me that. Puts them on the floor. So I'm like, ew, like, that's nasty. And but I let it go. I like spray my shit down and like let it go. So we're driving. We get to our first dock and ask me what I need to do with the backing maneuver. And I tell her like, hey, I'm not really sure. In school, we didn't get a chance to set up. There were so many of us that we just did the backing maneuver. Like, I passed my test on the first time, but when I got to my third maneuver, I got 5 points, which means I pulled up 7 times. Yes, don't talk about me. And I didn't get any points on the other maneuvers except for my last one. But I got 5 points on just my setup, which means we've never set up before. So she's asking me what I do for my setup. And I'm like, I really don't, like, I don't know. I'm not that person who's gonna be like, I learned this in school, I learned this in school, even if I didn't grow to me anyway. So, like, you may have some knowledge that I don't know about. You know, when you get out of school, they be like, forget everything you learned in school. So, I don't know. I can tell like she's getting frustrated. So I'm like, hey, like, I don't know this. I'm open to learn. Like, cool. The first day is kind of cool. Then we get to the terminal and we back in at the terminal. So I back in the first time, do it right. And she's like, okay, do it again. Now at first, I'm like, girl, we've been out all day. Like, I don't want to do it again. However, I am in training and I do need as much practice as possible. Period. Well, after the third one, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to stop. My birthday's tomorrow. Like, I just want to go to sleep. Okay, we're done. I go to sleep. I wake up in the morning and she's bought me cake for my birthday. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so sweet. So in my head, I'm like, things are gonna work out. Like, we're gonna be okay. She's trying. She may not normally have the best attitude, but like, she's trying, and that's all I can ask. So I'm like, cool. The day goes okay. And we're driving, and this is my fault. I will take blame for this. But we're about to turn. So we're turning, and this guy is walking across the street as we turn. Two-way street, obviously. He walks, and he stops the traffic that's coming my way so I can turn. So I'm looking at him like, sir, what are you doing? I'm looking at her, she looking at me, we looking at him, he looking at us. And I'm like, no, it's okay, sir. Like, go ahead and go. I'm like, no, it's okay, sir. Like, you know, go ahead and go. Like, don't worry about it. They can go. And he's like, I'm not moving, traffic control, da, 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 all this other shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm looking at her. I'm like, he's not going to move. And she's like, okay. So I'm like, should I go? And she's like, so I'm thinking, so I guess this is my fault. Again, this is my fault. Because if I would have hit something, then it wouldn't have been on him. It would have been on me because I'm the one that hit it. So I do take complete blame for this. However, I thought her was like, girl, who gives a fuck? Go. No, what should you do? That's what it was. I didn't know that. Again, we don't know each other, so I didn't interpret that. So I go. And because of the way I had to turn out, the car that was right there that he was controlling had to back up. So that I could actually make the turn because they shouldn't have been there. I shouldn't have been turning And if I would have waited for my turn, then there wouldn't have been cars there to begin with, if that makes sense. So I turn and I'm like, they have to back up. They back up. It wasn't a lot. Like, they had to back up a few feet. So they back up for me and then we go. And I'm like, I did that turn really well. Like, bitch, I'm so excited. And she's like, I can't believe you did that and da-da-da. And I'm like, wait, girl, what you mean? You said go ahead and go. She said, I did not say that. And she gets so mad. So I'm like, okay. Like, I'm sorry, girl. Like, I just misinterpreted it. I apologize. It won't happen again. So she's fuming. And I mean fuming. So that happens. And then we drive a little bit more. It's raining hella hard. And I mean hella hard. It's raining. Like, raining. So I look down and we have about 150 miles left. So I look over to her and I'm like, hey, I'm getting tired and I'm kind of having a hard time seeing. She looks down at our tablet and doesn't say anything to me. She looks at me, rolls her eyes, visibly can tell she has an attitude, and gets back on her phone. So I'm like, again, we don't know each other, so it's hard to really read you. I look at my clock I look at my watch and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give her 15 minutes because she doesn't even respond to me at this point. So 15 minutes go by and I'm like, hey, I don't know if you heard me, but I'm getting tired and I'm ready to stop. And I'm having a hard time seeing for safety purposes. Like, bitch, do I gotta pull the safety card? I'm serious, I'm tired, I'm ready to go. And she was like, you could just pull over to the rest stop. We were gonna wait until we get to the Loves, but if you just can't go on anymore, then pull over. And I'm like, oh, well, you didn't say anything to me, so I didn't really know, what we were gonna do. So how far is the Loves? I know you like the Loves. I'm okay to go ahead and drive there. And she's like, it's 17 miles. And I'm like, oh yeah, girl, don't even worry about it. We can do the Loves. So we're driving. We get to the Loves. We start the backing maneuver. Before she gets out, because she gets out every time I back. So she's like, you're gonna pull to the right and then pull to the left and then start your maneuver. Do you have any questions? And I'm like, no. And I don't have any questions because there's a trailer in front of me. So I can only pull to the right so much before I have to pull to the left. So I'm assuming she means pull to the right till I get to the trailer and pull to the left. So I do that because she said I'm going to do that and then I'm going to end up straight. So I pull to the right, then pull to the left, and I'm not straight. So I look back at her and I'm like, I don't know what to do from here. Turns out, instead of just like, your 45 is really kind of like a feel type of thing. Like, you just have to watch what you're doing. You do have a setup, but for the most part, it's like guiding your trailer in there and you just kind of gotta feel it, okay? You gotta feel it. So, she storms up. It is raining though, so I kind of get the frustration, but she walks up to the truck and she's like, what is the problem? And I'm like, I went right and then I went left. I mean, here's what I said. I was like, I went right and then got back in front of my trailer. Like, I don't know what to do now. Now, if I go right, that means I have to get back in front of my trailer. I have to go left. So she's like, I did not tell you to do that. And da, 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 da. So at this point, I'm looking at her like, bitch, I don't know who the fuck you're talking to. But I don't say anything. Because in my head, I'm like, I'm about to get a new trainer. I can't do this. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. But like, you said go right and then go left. But when I go left, I get back in front of my trainer. So I'm just kind of confused on how to fix it from here. She was like, there is no fixing it. And da, da, da. So I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? And she was like, go left. Then she walks away. So I'm like, do you want me to, I don't know if she mean pull up to the left or back up to the left. So girl, I'm like, excuse me. Like, at this point, I don't even want to say anything because like the more you yell at me, the more you're going to piss me off. So I'm like, hey, I don't say anything because I'm like, hey, I'm trying to say something to her and she doesn't listen to me. So then she storms back over to the truck and she's like, what is the problem? And I'm like, do you want me to pull up to the left or back up to the left? She's like, pull up. So I pull up and then I stop because I don't know how far I'm supposed to pull up. Now, keep in mind, I did this for a reason because when we were at the dock the day before, she told me to pull up. So I'm pulling up and I'm pulling up and I'm pulling up. And finally, I'm like, well, girl, I'm gonna go into the street. So I stop. And then she's like, how far are you gonna pull up? So at this point, that when I'm pulling up, now I stop because I'm like, I don't want to just keep pulling up because you clearly ain't gonna tell me when to stop. So I pull up and then I stop and she's like, what is the problem? And I'm like, it's taking everything in me because I'm like, girl, who the fuck are you talking to? But whatever, I'm like, I'm like, listen, you're screaming at me, so please stop. However, explain the situation on why I stopped where I stopped. And I'm like, and I'm like, I don't need you to be frustrated with me. I understand, like, you're upset. I'm getting upset, but like, we do got to get in the parking spot. So like, let's just figure out how to do it. And I'm explaining this to her, and while I'm talking to her, she was like, you got me fucked up. Walks around to the side of the truck, calls me. I'm hearing her call me all these type of bitches. So at this point, I'm like, oh baby, no. And then she opens the passenger door, changes her mind, closes it, comes back to the driver's side and was like, move. Not excuse me, like, not let me take over, but move. So I'm like, okay, girl, whatever. So I move, but instead of going to the passenger seat, I go back to the sleeper berth because I'm done. I'm getting a new trainer. I don't know who you're talking to. Once you start cussing at people, like you, and I don't mean cussing, I mean cussing at people. There is a difference. So once you start cussing at people, the respect lines are blurred, and I don't want to lose my job over me cussing you out. So as she's backing into the maneuver, she was like, the adult thing to do would have been to come down here and watch me do the maneuver. I don't even respond to her. I don't say nothing. I'm just like girl, whatever. I'm about to email them and get a new trainer. I don't even give a fuck. So then when she parks, she realizes she's wrong as fuck. So she gets up and she's like, let's come down here. You need to come down here and let's have a conversation. And I look at her and I'm like, no, it's okay. Like, don't worry about it. You've already cussed at me. We have crossed the path of no return. Like, don't worry. And she was like, no, come down here. And I'm like, seriously, like, it's really not a problem. I'm going to go ahead and get a new trainer. Clearly our personalities don't mesh. It's not like we're friends, so we don't need to mend the relationship. Like, it's genuinely okay. And she's like, you're going to talk up there you're going to talk at me instead of down here. And I'm like, oh no, I didn't personally want to talk at all. You want to talk. So I'm just going to get a new trainer. I don't feel like there's anything to talk about. I feel like what just happened was very unprofessional and I'm not interested in continuing. So once I say that, she was like, well, fuck this. So she gets on the phone. Keep in mind, I'm new, so I actually really don't know who to call. She gets on the tablet, emails them, and was like, she needs to get off my truck and da-da-da-da. I don't give a fuck. I email the people I need to email and we go on about our business. So basically, that day, she takes over the driving. Because once she realizes I'm not driving anymore, she takes over and she drives basically all throughout the night. At this point, I go to sleep back in the sleeper berth and we're good to go. The next morning, my nigga, keep in mind, we haven't said 2 words to each other. Like, at this point, nothing. Like, she's been driving basically all night. I slept. I don't give a fuck. So at about 9 something, I get up, look out the window at the top, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're at a truck stop. Obviously, where else would we be? I need to go to the bathroom. So I get up to go to the bathroom. And you know, when you get out of a truck, you don't just walk out of a truck. Like, you kind of have to sit down and then get out. Like, you don't just walk straight through. So I sit down in the driver's seat and she was like, get up. So I'm like, I look down and there's a towel on the seat. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm thinking this is her like bathing towel. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to sit on your towel because girl, because you know, like, that's nasty. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I look down, I move it, and I'm like, do you want me to hand it to you or do you want me to put it on the passenger seat? I realized this is the same towel that was in the passenger seat, which means you were sitting on it earlier. So why are you making a big deal about me sitting on it? And she was like, you could just put it up there and move the pad because she had like a cushion. Like, so I moved that over to the passenger seat. Now, keep in mind, she's in the back laying down. So she has her key in the ignition. And I don't want to leave her in there with the door unlocked. So I'm like, do you want me to take the key and lock the door or do you want me to leave the key here? And she was like, leave the key exactly where it's at. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I get out, go to the bathroom. I come back, the doors are locked. I'm gonna have to continue this. Y'all, I gotta go real quick. So when you see me again, I'm gonna be in a new location and we'll finish up. Okay, as you guys can see, I'm in a completely different location. I have to go. So I'm just gonna like pick up where I left off. So yeah, basically, like I said, I come back, the doors are locked. So I'm like, what the hell is happening? This is like, instantly I just get irritated because keep in mind, all of my stuff is on the truck. Literally everything I brought except for my purse and my phone. I'm like, oh baby, no, we're not gonna do this. We're just not. We're not gonna do this. This is weird. Like, no. So I knock on the door. Nobody answers. I try to open both sides, the passenger and the driver's side. Nobody answers. I don't know, TikTok, immediately no. Immediately no. I've seen what I need to see and immediately no. Because girl, what? So I get on the phone and I call like my driver placement or my driver services, whatever you want to call them. So it's a Saturday, so it takes them forever to answer. So I'm on the side of the truck at this point. And they finally get on the phone. I explain the situation. I'm like, my trainer has me locked out of the truck. All of my stuff is on the truck. I've asked for a new driver trainer. So I guess at this point, she doesn't want to let me on the truck. I don't know what's going on. I'm about 4 hours away from home and just immediately no. So I explain the situation to them. They look in the notes. They see that I sent the email. And basically the guy is on the phone like, this is really unacceptable. I explained that this has happened to somebody else before. And he's like, this is a safety concern at this point. So he transfers me over to safety. I'm walking back towards the trailer portion. So as soon as she hears me walking back towards the trailer, she gets out on the passenger side, because I'm on the driver's side at this point. She gets out on the passenger side. Keep in mind, I'm on hold, being transferred over to safety. She gets out, locks the door, and goes inside. And I mean, like, I ain't never seen nobody move that fast in my life. So I'm like, so safety gets on the phone. I explain the situation to them. I'm like, I am 4 hours away from home. This is unacceptable. I do not like this. This is not okay. So they're talking to me, and she comes back. Finally, she comes back out. And when I see her come back out, I'm on her heels, y'all. Like, no, you're letting me back on the truck. I don't care. So I'm behind her on the driver's side. She's like, you can get in on the passenger side. So I walk around to the passenger side. It takes her about, because she, like I said, she's on the driver's side. She closes the door. It takes her about 3 to 4 minutes at this point to open the door. So I'm talking to them, explaining everything to them. I'm guessing she just thinks I'm on the phone with whoever at this point. So she finally lets me in the stuff that I bought from inside the store on the bed. And I'm like, I need to get off the truck and take a call. I just want to make sure that you are not going to leave me once I get off of this truck. And she's like, you don't need to go anywhere. You can sit right there on the top bunk. So I want to clarify. If I get off of the truck and take this call with our employer, you are going to leave me. At first, she says yes. So I'm like, okay, safety, did you hear that? And she's like, I'm not going to leave you unless you do something stupid. I'm not going to leave you unless you do something stupid. Yeah, girl, it's giving real backpedal. Like I said, I'm getting off the truck. So I'm irritated at this point because why would you lock somebody off the truck? Like the whole time before that, I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like, okay, girl, if you want to scream, you want to go, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't care. But now I'm getting angry, girl. I'm getting mad. So I get off the truck. We have this conversation. They're basically like, can you just make it to the terminal? Basically, they're like, can you guys be cordial and you make it to the terminal? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. But at this point, I'm outside of the truck and I hear her going off. These little bitches are this and a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm like, okay, girl. So just a little backstory. She knows that I know some of the people that were previously on her truck because I told her and it wasn't in a negative way that I told her, but she was just like, oh, about, people being on her truck before. And I'm like, yeah, I know a couple people that were on your truck. We went to school together. And she just was kind of like, oh, when I told her. This is like the first day. And that was pretty much the end of the conversation. I didn't say they said anything bad about her. None of those things. I just like, oh yeah, I know a couple people that were in your truck. We went to school together. Like, that's it. So she's like, these little bitches are followers and blah, blah, blah. So I am on the phone with safety and I'm like, listen to what she's saying and how she's talking about me. So I get back on the truck. Keep in mind, I have my phone in my hand, but it's not on my ear because I have my AirPods in and you can't, if my hair is like this, you can't really see my AirPods. So at this point, she doesn't know that I'm on the phone anymore. So I get on the truck and she was like, yeah, these little bitches are followers and they don't have a mind of their own. And which makes no sense because, girl, you mean to tell me that all of us were in cahoots to make you seem like a bad person, or are you just a bad person? Kim, girl, is it really us or is it you? It's giving it to you. So anyways, and she's just basically going off. So I get back on the bed, let her go off for another 2-3 minutes, and she goes into, if she says another word to me, she's gonna be out on the street and blah blah blah, and she better shut the fuck up while she's in my truck. And I'm like, I don't have anything to say to you, but I'm not gonna be quiet, like, especially if you're gonna be talking to me crazy. And she's like, you can get the fuck off my truck right now. You can call whoever you want to. I don't give a fuck. You're gonna get off my truck. All this extra stuff. So safety's like, at this point, they're like, is she talking to you? And she goes, yeah, girl, this is chess, not checkers. Checkmate, baby. Like, this is chess, not checkers, boo. You thought you was gonna be talking to me crazy, and it's just not gonna happen. So they were like, I'm about to call her. So they give her a call, hang up from me. She gets on the phone and she was like, I just can't take this. I hear her get off the truck. She's like, this is becoming a risk for me driving, and this is becoming a problem for my mental health, and I'm not going to be able to safely operate the vehicle, and blah, blah, blah. Like, give me a break. So basically, I'm guessing whatever they said to her was, can you guys make it to the terminal to drop her off? Yes or no? She's basically like, yes, I can, as long as she doesn't say anything to me. So they call me back and they're like, are you okay? Do you feel safe? Are you fine being up there? And I'm like, yeah, as long as, no one says anything to me, as long as everybody keeps it copacetic, we are good to go. Like, I don't care. So they get off the phone. She closes the curtain for the sleeper berth and gets to driving. So we're good. We're in like Locust Grove, I guess. So we have a load already. So we have to go from Locust Grove to Savannah, and then drop off the load, pick up a load from Savannah, and then go back to the terminal. So again, we're only about 3-4 hours away, but with that, it's about 6 hours added onto our trip, which is fine. I'm not doing anything. Like, it would still take them the same amount of time to find somebody to come get me. It just, it doesn't really matter at this point. I'm not doing anything. I'm not missing out on anything. I get paid regardless. Who cares? So we drive there. Now, at this point, we're about, fast forward some hours, obviously, we're about 12 miles out from the terminal. I pack up all my stuff because I can GPS on my phone, so I know how far we are. So I pack up all my stuff and I open my purse. And when I open my purse and I see lotion, I automatically just put the lotion on. Like, it's just a habit. So I put the lotion on. And I'm on the phone at this point. So I'm putting some lotion on. I see my perfume and I'm like, ooh, spray. Like, it just out of habit. So then maybe like 5 minutes later, which means we're literally only like 10 miles. We're like 6 miles away from the terminal at this point. She's like, whatever the hell you're spraying back there, stop it. Now, I don't respond to her because I had sprayed this like 10 minutes ago. And I didn't even put any thought into it. Like, the windows in the back on the sleeper berth are open, the curtains closed. I didn't even, like, when she said it, I'm thinking like, girl, I ain't sprayed nothing. And then I'm like, oh, my perfume. So my perfume and my lotion. So I'm like, dang, I forgot all about it. My bad. Literally like a minute later, I was gonna say 45 seconds, like, girl, bye. Anyways, so like a minute later, I feel us pulling over to the side of the road. She's like, like, just real dramatic, like. So the person I'm on the phone with is like, oh my God, like, I'm about to hang up because she's getting on my nerves at this point. So I laugh because they're funny. Like, they're like, she getting on my nerves. At the point I'm like, child, same, but who cares? So she comes back, and keep in mind, she's saying that the perfume is bothering her at this point. This is the same perfume I wore on that Thursday, on that Friday, and now it's Saturday. So now all of a sudden it's bothering you. But okay, whatever. Like, okay, girl, whatever. But anyways, so she comes back to the back, gets water, acting like she's dying. She has this spray bottle of pure alcohol, like pure rubbing alcohol. She sprays, not me doing the spray, she sprays pure rubbing alcohol in the air. Like, girl, if anything, that's what's messing with your allergies. Like, and you, like, why would you spray pure rubbing alcohol in the air? Like, maybe for breeze, but like rubbing alcohol, I don't know. Maybe the science ain't science into me, but like, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm just looking at her like, girl, whatever. She stops on the side of the road. Keep in mind, we are 6 miles away. So we're all of 7 minutes away from the terminal at this point. So she stops, calls whoever she calls. I'm guessing like her fleet manager or something. And she was like, I'm not moving a mile. She needs to get off my truck now. She needs to do this now. And I couldn't hear what they said, but I'm guessing it's something along the lines of like, you're literally only 6 miles away. It would take more time for us to find somebody to come get her than it would be for you to just drop her off at the terminal. But I'm guessing they try to reason with her and they're like, can you take her to the hotel instead? Now the hotel is like 3 or 4 minutes away from the terminal. So it is a little bit less time, but there's not really much of a difference, to be completely honest. Like, at this point, we're only 6 miles away from the terminal, girl. Just take me back. Like, and it's not like I did it on purpose. You're being really dramatic. I didn't even think about it. It was like really force of habit where I'm just like, ooh, lotion. I was packing my stuff up. I'm like, lotion, girl, rub a dub. I rub a dub. And then I'm like, ooh, smell good. Spray it on my shoulders. Spray it on. Like, I don't know. I didn't even put no thought into it, girl. Just, like, quit. Please, just stop being dramatic. So finally, like 10 minutes later, which we could have been at the terminal by then, 10 minutes later, she finally pulls off. Cause girl, yeah, you thought I was gonna get off this truck. You gonna have to drag me up this truck. And I'm not getting off on the side of the highway, child. I am not homeless. Like, well, I'm not a bum. So girl, like, please. So we get to the terminal and I'm like, you can just drop me off at the gate because my ride is already there. So I pack up all my, my stuff's already packed up, but I bring all my stuff down and I put it on the seat. I open the door and I don't want to like get out with 1 or 2 of my bags or like 1 bag or whatever. And then she closed the door and not let me get the rest of my stuff. I know we're already at the terminal, so the likelihood of that happening is slim to none. But based off just recent events, I just want to get all my stuff at the same time. So the person that's supposed to be coming to get my stuff, like help me get my stuff off, is walking like they don't have a care in the world. Like, child, come on. Like, so I look out the window and I'm like, will you hurry up and get me off this hellish truck? So she's like, you wish this truck was hellish. So I hand my stuff down and I'm like, it is hellish. And then she starts talking shit and she's like, you need to stop driving. You can't drive. Now, if you know me, you know I can drive. If you've ever seen me in the semi truck, you know I can drive. If you've ever seen me in a car, you know I can drive. So now, and you've told me several times on my evaluations, you told me I can drive. So all of a sudden, now I can't drive. She's like, you need to stop driving. And I'm like, you need to stop training because your attitude is just as nasty as this truck, your face, and your teeth. I'm sorry, child. Like, at this point, I don't give a fuck. Like, girl. So I probably shouldn't have said that, but I said what I said, and your attitude's just as nasty as everything in this truck. So, including you. Oh, and I think I was like, and just as nasty as your armpits, because one of the days that we were there, she was like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm musty. I washed up this morning. I don't know what happened, but I didn't make a big deal about it. I'm like, girl, whatever, you musty. Like, it is what it is. I don't care. So I'm like, yeah, this truck is just as nasty as your attitude. Your attitude is just as nasty as this truck, your teeth, your face, and your musty armpits. And then I was about to get off. Then she hopped up. And you know how some stuff is just like fighting, like demeanor or fighting words. Like if you're talking to somebody and they start taking their earrings off, they love to fight. So I'm locked and loaded with all my stuff. Like I have stuff on both arms and I'm handing stuff down and I'm on the bottom, like the lower step. She gets up, hops in my face and was like, get off my truck. But she's almost like, if I can smell her breath, she's so close. If she were to lean in just like this, we'd be rubbing noses. So I'm like, girl, back up. Like, back, please. You're doing a little too much and you're getting a little too close. And she was like, don't make me put you off my truck. And I'm like, oh, really? Put me off your truck. I dare you to. Like, I dare you to put your hands on me. And ma'am, I'm letting you know now, I know you think I'm a baby, but I will wear your old ass out. So she backs up and is like, just get off my truck. So I get off the truck. Turns out she sends a message to them and was like, the placement driver just got off of the truck at the guard shack. They write her back, and I know this for a fact because when I was with my other trainer, I seen the messages because she sent it on the group message thing that I was involved in. So they were like, she got off of the truck as in quit, and she said yes. So basically my company had put me on a leave of absence as if I had quit, even though they told me to get off of the truck. I got it all figured out and everything's okay now, but it's just really tacky that even happened. So yeah, y'all, that's basically the end of the story. That is my trainer's story. It was real ghetto. I'm not even mad about it. This is not a sob story. This is just the ha ha ha, like, look what people have gone through type of things. Because if I wouldn't have met her and got on her truck, then I wouldn't have ended up with the trainer that I have now, because my trainer was on leave when I originally got assigned to her. So I would have never gotten my current trainer, or I guess I'm off the truck now, so. So I wouldn't have gotten that trainer if I wouldn't have went to her. So everything happens for a reason, and you know, we got a funny story on it that we can look back on and laugh. Like, so who cares? It is what it is. I'm done with training now. I passed with flying colors. My trainer says I'm a great driver. When I passed out at my terminal, they said I'm a great driver, that I'm a great driver, and that I'm a great backer. So it is what it is. But child, I don't know why y'all, but they need to stop letting certain people train. Like, if you've had 6 people be like, this trainer sucks, then clearly they suck. Like, hello. But you know, there's a shortage of female trainers, so I get it. So yeah, I hope that if you guys are looking into trucking, you guys have a better training experience than I had the first time. I wish my second trainer experience on you guys. I hope everything works out well. If it doesn't, just remember, y'all, it is a part of the process, and better days are coming. We are done now. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to be vlogging, and I have a couple of videos that are coming up, like me decorating my truck and stuff like that. So if you are interested in seeing those videos, or if you have any questions, or you just want to talk about the training experience, definitely don't forget to comment down below. Like this video, share it. If you like it, share it. Other than that, don't do anything I wouldn't do. And if you do, do it twice. Bye.